On the path to spiritual awakening, one encounters trials, and overcoming them becomes the key to comprehending the true nature of existence. These challenges test the boundaries of perception, allowing a glimpse beyond the ordinary and a touch of life's divine essence. Imagine a person standing on the edge of a bottomless abyss, where below lies only unfathomable depth. This is not merely a dream image, but a metaphorical representation of the first, and perhaps most difficult, of the 9 challenges of spiritual awakening: the experience of emptiness. Emptiness is the alpha and omega, the ultimate test of letting go, and the first step toward profound transformation. It is a state where all worldly hustle and bustle cease, leaving one alone with a silence so profound it seems to echo within. It is here, in emptiness, that the potential for everything resides. Emptiness represents a state of being that many avoid throughout their lives. It is the space between thoughts, the pause between breaths, the silence hidden behind the noise of daily life. People are taught to fear it, to fill it with distractions, so as not to confront the boundlessness of their own existence. But for spiritual awakening, it is necessary not only to confront emptiness, but to embrace it. This is not about physical solitude, but about encountering an internal void, a space where one is left alone with oneself, stripped of all illusions. Experiencing emptiness is like shedding old skin, letting go of previous self-perceptions, and confronting the naked essence of one's being. It is a test of courage, a baptism by fire that burns away all superficial layers to reveal the diamond hidden within. In emptiness, one learns to release attachments, desires, and the very concept of identity. Here, in the absence of everything, a deep sense of presence is found, a connection to something greater than oneself, to universal consciousness. Jean-Paul Sartre, a prominent 20th century existentialist philosopher, explored the existential dread that arises when confronting this inner void. In his philosophy, Sartre emphasized that human existence precedes essence, meaning people are born into the world as a blank slate, and only through choice and action do they define their essence. This concept resonates with the idea of encountering inner emptiness, compelling individuals to grapple with the inherent freedom and responsibility that come with creating their own meaning in life. Sartre believed that the experience of emptiness could lead to a profound awakening. By confronting the void and the uncertainty of existence, one is forced to make choices and take responsibility for one's actions, leading to a deeper understanding of one's authentic self and a connection to the fundamental nature of human being. This essay explores Sartre's concept of emptiness within the context of spiritual awakening. It argues that embracing inner emptiness is a crucial step on the path to spiritual enlightenment. It is through confronting this void that one can transcend the limitations of the ego, connect with universal consciousness, and embark on a transformative journey towards enlightenment. Encountering emptiness can evoke fear, uncertainty, and a sense of loneliness. These emotions are seen as natural reactions, a kind of threshold guardian, testing one's readiness to leap into the unknown. However, when emptiness is embraced, a transformation occurs. Fear gives way to freedom, uncertainty to understanding, and loneliness to a profound connection with all that is. Instead of falling into an abyss, there is an ascent, a rebirth. Emptiness becomes a gateway, opening the path to spiritual awakening, a journey comprising 8 stages, each bearing its own trials and rewards. The second stage of this journey is overcoming the ego, often referred to as ego death. The ego is seen as a mask one wears to navigate the world. It consists of thoughts, beliefs, and self-perceptions shaped by societal expectations and personal ambitions. While the ego plays a practical role in daily life, it can also trap one in cycles of desire, fear, and comparison, separating one from their true essence. Overcoming the ego does not mean losing self-awareness or individuality, but rather recognizing its limitations and transcending them to experience a deeper, unified state of being. It is the realization that one is not merely thoughts or social roles, but something much greater. Ego death is often described as a period of profound vulnerability, where constructs of identity crumble, leaving one feeling exposed and uncertain. This experience can be frightening, as it challenges the foundations of self-perception and understanding of the world. However, it is also a moment of great liberation. As the ego dissolves, so do the barriers separating the individual from the world. The interconnectedness of all things begins to manifest. This is not a loss of self, but an expansion of consciousness, an opening to the boundlessness of existence. In Eastern philosophy, the concept of overcoming the ego resonates deeply, especially in Buddhism and Taoism. In Buddhism, the ego is often associated with suffering, and the Buddha emphasized the transient nature of the self and attachment to the ego as a source of dissatisfaction. Achieving enlightenment requires transcending the ego and recognizing the illusory nature of the self. In Taoist philosophy, the ego is presented as the root of disconnection and discord. Taoism advocates for following the natural order of the universe, which implies letting go of egoistic aspirations and cultivating humility. By shedding the shackles of the ego, one achieves harmony with the Tao, reaching a state of unity with all that exists. Overcoming the ego requires vigilance and a conscious presence in the moment. This involves observing one's thoughts and emotions without entanglement, perceiving them as fleeting waves in the boundless ocean of being. It is not about suppressing or denying feelings, but about accepting them without allowing them to define one's identity. Spiritual practices such as meditation, journaling, and contemplating nature facilitate this process, allowing one to detach from egoic narratives and connect with the deeper self. This is a path that requires patience, compassion, and above all, the courage to leave the familiar shores of self-identification and venture into the uncharted waters of spiritual awakening. By liberating oneself from the ego, one experiences an unparalleled freedom from the need for approval, from the fear of judgment, and from the relentless pursuit of more. One begins to live in flow, gracefully moving with the rhythm of life, guided by an inner sense of purpose rather than external dictates. Having traversed the boundless void and overcome the shackles of the ego, one approaches the third pivotal moment on the path of spiritual awakening, releasing the fear of death. The fear of death is perhaps the most pervasive and deeply ingrained of human fears. It underlies many actions and reactions, prompting us to seek security, accumulate wealth, and strive for achievements to leave a mark on the world and defy our own transience. However, the essence of spiritual awakening lies in the realization that life and death are not opposites, but two sides of the same coin, cycles in the endless dance of creation and destruction. Releasing the fear of death means understanding that death is not an end, but a transition, a transformation inherent in the very fabric of the universe. This profound realization is reflected in the concept of the danse macabre, a medieval allegory emphasizing the universality of death. The danse macabre unites people from all walks of life, from pope to peasant, in a dance leading to the grave. This vivid image reminds us that death is the great equalizer, sparing no one, regardless of status, wealth, or power. The Danse Macabre urges us to live with an awareness of death's inevitability, prompting us to cherish every moment and live life to its fullest. It teaches that by accepting death, one can overcome fears and live more authentically, making choices that reflect the true self rather than being guided by societal expectations or the illusion of eternity. Embracing the lessons of the Danse Macabre as part of spiritual awakening allows us to see beauty in the cycle of life and death, find joy in impermanence, and attain peace in the natural flow of existence. It is in this acceptance and understanding that true freedom lies. Freedom from the chains of fear, freedom to live in harmony with nature, and freedom to cherish life's precious, fleeting moments. Fear in the face of death often becomes an insurmountable obstacle to living a full life. By erecting a barrier of anxiety and a desire to avoid everything that reminds us of the finite nature of existence, it deprives us of the courage to take risks, to love unreservedly, and to welcome change. However, when the awareness of death's inevitability ceases to inspire terror, one gains freedom from these shackles. Life appears as a priceless gift to be enjoyed to the fullest, without allowing fear to darken a single day. Acceptance of mortality also deepens one's connection with others and with the entire world. The realization of our own impermanence fosters empathy and compassion, as in every person we see a reflection of our own vulnerability. This leads to a more meaningful approach to life, where actions are dictated by higher values and a desire to contribute to something greater than personal interests. One strives to leave a positive legacy, not as a way of denying death, but as an expression of the life consciously chosen to live, knowing its inevitable end. Overcoming the fear of death is a profound and transformative experience, marking a significant milestone on the path of spiritual awakening. It is a step that prepares one for even deeper insights and experiences that lie ahead. The fourth challenge of spiritual awakening is heightened intuition. This stage signifies a fundamental shift in how one perceives and interacts with the world. As one progresses spiritually, a new sensitivity to the environment emerges. Colors appear brighter, sounds clearer, and textures richer in nuance. This heightened receptivity is not limited to physical senses, but extends to emotional and energetic realms. One begins to keenly feel the emotions and energy of others, perceiving them as their own. Initially, this influx of sensory information and emotional energies can feel overwhelming, causing a sense of vulnerability and exposure. However, this sensitivity is a valuable gift, a tool that, when properly understood and utilized, unlocks a deeper comprehension of the interconnectedness of all things. Intuition, that quiet inner voice, grows louder and clearer as one advances on the spiritual path. It transforms into a reliable guide, offering insights and understanding that do not depend on conventional thought processes. Heightened intuition is like a compass, pointing towards choices and actions that align with one's highest self and the greater good. The ability to trust one's intuition is a crucial aspect of this stage. In a world where logic and reason are often prioritized over inner knowing, following intuition might seem like a leap into the unknown. But each time one listens to this inner voice and acts accordingly, it strengthens their faith in themselves and in the universe. A deep conviction in one's intuition and a drive to understand the interconnectedness of all life find parallels in the philosophical views of Alan Watts. This British thinker, known for his interpretation and popularization of Eastern philosophy for Western audiences, emphasized the importance of realizing the unity between the individual and the surrounding world. Watts argued that the feeling of separateness from the world is an illusion, a social construct that leads to a misunderstanding of our true nature. The philosopher believed that by recognizing and embracing one's inner connection to the universe, one can overcome the limitations imposed by traditional thinking. He posited that intuition plays a decisive role in this process, representing a direct apprehension of cosmic order and our natural state of being. According to Watts, it is through intuition that we can perceive the world in its entirety, moving beyond the dualistic separation between observer and observed. However, increased sensitivity and intuition can also create certain difficulties. One may face the need to establish firmer boundaries to protect their energy and well-being. The awareness of pain and suffering in the world can become more acute, leading to feelings of emotional overload or compassion fatigue. Therefore, developing practices that promote grounding and centering becomes important. Methods such as meditation, spending time in nature, and creative pursuits can help manage one's sensitivity and maintain connection with intuition while avoiding overwhelm. The journey through extreme sensitivity and heightened intuition represents a process of learning to balance openness with the need for self-care, embracing one's gifts while protecting one's well-being. The challenge of seeing the divine in everything marks a profound shift in the perception of reality, imbuing experiences with a sense of sacredness and interconnectedness that transcends the mundane. The task of this stage is not merely to recognize the divine essence, but to integrate this understanding into daily life, transforming one's interactions with the world and its inhabitants. Unlike previous stages that emphasize personal transformation and internal changes, seeing the divine in everything involves an outward expansion of consciousness. It is akin to changing the lens through which we view the world, revealing a luminous thread woven into the fabric of existence, connecting all forms of life and matter into a divine tapestry. This awareness can come in moments of quiet contemplation, when observing the beauty of nature, in art, or in the gaze of another person. It represents a recognition that everything, from the smallest particle to the immense cosmos, is imbued with a sacred essence, a spark of the divine. In this context, Christianity offers a unique perspective that deepens the sense of sacred interconnectedness. It teaches that the divine is not only transcendent, existing beyond the physical world, but also immanent, residing within and among us. This finds its most profound expression in the concept of the incarnation, the belief that God became flesh in the person of Jesus Christ. Through this act, the sacred and the mundane are forever intertwined, demonstrating that the divine essence permeates all creation. The realization of the divine in all manifestations of life fosters a deep sense of reverence. Ordinary actions and everyday encounters are transformed into sacred rituals, moments where we can appreciate the interconnectedness of all things. This does not require grandiose gestures or extravagant displays, but rather a transformation of perception, a conscious choice to see and value the divine presence in ordinary moments. This reverence extends to our interactions with the environment, promoting responsible living and a nurturing attitude towards all forms of life. It influences our relationships, fostering deeper connections based on mutual respect and unconditional love. By recognizing the divine in others, we, as if in a mirror, reflect this divinity within ourselves, strengthening our sense of unity and compassion for all living beings. However, the path to recognizing the divine in everything is not without its difficulties. In the modern world, where disconnection and materialistic values often prevail, maintaining such a perspective requires constant vigilance and unwavering commitment. At times, it can be challenging to see the sacred in moments of adversity, suffering, or in the mundane aspects of daily life. Moreover, this awareness compels us to confront our own shadow selves, as recognizing the divine in everything implies accepting it even in those aspects of reality and ourselves that we would prefer to ignore or reject. It is a call to embrace the full spectrum of existence, with all its light and darkness, as manifestations of the divine. By embracing this challenge, we become beacons of light, demonstrating how to live in harmony with the world and with each other. Our life journey transforms into a testament to the possibility of a more compassionate, conscious, and sacred way of life, inspiring others to embark on their own path of spiritual awakening. On the path of spiritual awakening, after recognizing the divine spark in all aspects of existence, a stage that might at first seem paradoxical naturally follows: a period of solitude. Solitude is the very garden where our souls are nurtured, a quiet haven where the seeds of spiritual revelations can sprout and blossom. It is in these moments of seclusion that we gain the opportunity to listen to the whispers of our inner self, establish a deep connection with our true essence, and restore our spiritual potential. This stage emphasizes the necessity of creating a personal sanctuary, both within and around us, a refuge where the noise of the external world is muted and the inner voice sounds clearer. Navigating the stage of solitude involves embracing periods of being alone as valuable opportunities for profound personal growth. It is in solitude that we confront our deepest fears, face our inner demons, and ultimately discover our true strength and resilience of spirit. This stage of the spiritual journey challenges us to learn to be comfortable in our own company, to enjoy the richness of our inner world, and to find peace and contentment within the depths of our heart. This does not mean abandoning relationships with others or society as a whole. Rather, it allows us to return to them more whole, more conscious, and more authentic. Being alone reveals the value of full and deep interaction with others once one is comfortable in their own company. Moments of solitude offer unique insights that enrich the spiritual journey. One learns to find support and wisdom within themselves, realizing that the most important answers are hidden in the depths of their own consciousness. This period of self-discovery becomes a crucial stage for reflecting on and integrating life's lessons, allowing one to look to the future with a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. Thus, solitude is not an escape from reality, but rather a deep immersion into its essence. By developing the capacity for solitude, one prepares for deeper and more meaningful interactions with the world, armed with the insight and inner peace born from self-reflection. In Zen Buddhism, the practice of solitude is considered a path to spiritual enlightenment. In this tradition, solitude is not merely a physical state, but a practice that facilitates deep meditation and insight. Zen Buddhist philosophy asserts that true understanding and enlightenment come through direct experience of reality, which is often achieved in moments of solitary contemplation. Zen Buddhism encourages the practice of zazen, a meditation aimed at quieting the mind and impartially observing oneself. Solitude in Zen Buddhism is seen as an important condition for achieving satori, a sudden enlightenment where one directly experiences the nature of their existence and the universe. This disciplined form of solitude requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to face one's authentic self. Through solitude, one prepares for the next stages of spiritual awakening. Each moment of solitude brings one closer to a deeper understanding of oneself and the universe, an important component of a journey that fosters insight, compassion, and authenticity. Solitude is a powerful testament to the beauty of inner worlds and a vital stage on the path to spiritual awakening. Continuing on the path of spiritual awakening, one encounters the seventh challenge: embracing impermanence. This phase deepens the understanding of the fundamental truth that everything in the world is in constant flux and change. The challenge calls for letting go of the illusion of stability and control, accepting the ever-changing nature of reality. Impermanence is a universal law governing life in all its manifestations. Seasons change, relationships evolve, and the human body undergoes transformations over time. Despite the inevitability of change, people often resist it, clinging to the familiar and known. This resistance causes suffering, as all attempts to hold on to the unholdable are futile. To embrace impermanence is to recognize that change is not an enemy, but a fellow traveler on life's journey. It is the river that carries one forward, the wind that fills the sails, and the force that allows life to renew and regenerate. It is in the acceptance of the impermanence of all things that one finds true freedom. Embracing the changeability of the world means voluntarily letting go of the desire for rigid control and predetermined expectations, allowing life to flow naturally. This involves loosening the ego's grip, which often resists change, striving to bend everything to its will. Instead, the individual learns to adapt flexibly to circumstances, trusting the natural course of events and perceiving each moment as a unique opportunity for personal growth and spiritual transformation. Such openness should not be understood as passive inaction, but rather as active participation in the life process. It implies conscious choice and purposeful action, while remaining receptive to potential changes in the surrounding environment. It is a kind of dance with the unknown, where uncertainty is perceived not as a threat, but as a valuable ally. Embracing impermanence bestows invaluable wisdom, the ability to fully enjoy every moment, the awareness of the fleeting nature of any experience, whether joyful or sorrowful, allows one to appreciate it much more deeply. The captivating beauty of a sunset, the genuine laughter of a loved one, the valuable lessons learned from life's adversities, all gain special significance when we realize their transient nature. Overcoming life's challenges without judgment represents a powerful and transformative stage of spiritual development. The tendency to judge is deeply ingrained in human nature. From an early age, we learn to classify, evaluate, and form opinions about people and situations. While judgment plays an important role in decision-making and recognizing potential threats, it can also lead to discord, prejudice, and suffering. A judgmental mind often operates automatically, making hasty judgments based on preconceived notions and stereotypes. This can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and a sense of alienation. Living without judgment requires conscious effort to break free from habitual patterns of criticism and bias. Self-reflection and mindfulness are necessary, allowing one to observe their own judgments without entanglement and to choose responses based on understanding and compassion. Liberation from the shackles of judgment involves recognizing the uniqueness of each person's life journey, shaped by their personal experiences and circumstances. It is the acknowledgement that despite external differences, we all share a common humanity, with its fears, hopes, and vulnerabilities. It is the ability to see others not as objects for evaluation, but as fellow travelers on life's journey. By embracing non-judgment as a core principle, we move closer to realizing inner peace, a state of being that transcends judgment, fear, and separation, allowing us to experience the fullness of our existence in harmony with the world around us. Inner peace as the final challenge on the path of spiritual awakening represents the culmination of all efforts, the realization of a state that transcends the hustle and discord of the external world. Inner peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but a profound inner harmony, radiating tranquility, contentment, and a deep sense of interconnectedness. It is the ultimate goal of the spiritual journey, a state that does not depend on external circumstances, but is the result of our internal reaction to them. This is not about chasing external recognition or accumulating material possessions, but about finding a deep, unshakable inner contentment that is unaffected by external circumstances. It is a journey to the source of inner harmony, an inexhaustible reservoir of resilience and strength that allows one to face any life upheaval with dignity and serenity. One of the cornerstones of inner peace is the ability to let go of attachments to the outcomes of one's efforts, to material possessions, and even to one's own self-image. It is the realization that true happiness does not stem from external achievements or acquisitions, but is an inherent quality of our essence. By freeing oneself from the tenacious embrace of attachments, one breaks out of the vicious cycle of desires and fears that often keep them in a state of constant unrest. One learns to find joy in the present, to appreciate life in all its manifestations, without fixating on the pursuit of some ephemeral future happiness. Inner peace is inextricably linked with the practice of mindfulness and the ability to live in the present. This means being fully immersed in the current moment, letting go of regrets about the past and anxieties about the future. It is the ability to be present here and now, accepting everything that arises on life's path, be it joy, sorrow, or simply the unhurried rhythm of daily life. At the conclusion of this spiritual quest comes the realization that inner peace is not a goal requiring titanic efforts, but a natural state of human being. It is not the absence of external noise, but a deep, silent stillness that resides within each of us, awaiting its moment.